Tired of your Thanksgiving turkey tasting like sawdust and sadness? Did the Butterball hotline block your number? Are you Googling spatchcocking in the middle of the night? Don't panic. This is the right way to roast the big bird.
I am so thankful to have you all here today.
I am thankful that I only burned the turkey a little bit. I'm sorry, you gang.
Brining is the secret to creating moist, well-seasoned turkey, but traditional wet brining methods come with some annoying drawbacks. For one, to brine a whole turkey, you need a very large food-safe container, larger than many people have in their kitchens at home. Wrangling an unwieldy bucket or bag filled with salt water and a whole turkey is an opportunity to make a big mess and splash salmonella juice all over your kitchen. Also, all the extra water from the brining process can make the turkey skin paler and less crispy. For all these reasons, dry brining is the best, easiest way to make your turkey more delicious before cooking. In a dry brine, you take all the basic components of a brining solution like salt, sugar, and spices, and sprinkle them on the skin and inside the cavity of your whole turkey at least a day before Thanksgiving. Several days of curing time is even better. The salt will penetrate the interior of the meat, seasoning all the way down to the bone if you give it enough time. Dry brines can be as basic as just kosher salt, but ingredients like brown sugar, ground spices, herbs, and even MSG can help take your turkey to the next level. Unlike richer birds like duck and goose, turkey doesn't have much subcutaneous fat. The fat in duck skin melts as the bird roasts, almost frying the skin and making it naturally crispy. Turkey skin needs some help to achieve the shatteringly crisp, golden brown finish we all want. Adding fat to the outside of the turkey will prevent the skin from sogging out and promote even browning. The turkey experts at Butterball recommend coating turkey in neutral oil or clarified butter to encourage browning. Butterball's set it and forget it method of brushing the turkey with oil at the beginning of the cooking process asks very little of the cook, but you can achieve even better results if you apply fat throughout the cooking process. Like many other proteins, turkey benefits from coming to room temperature before you cook it. Although it's not strictly necessary, letting your turkey rest at room temperature for an hour will improve your cooking experience in a couple of ways. Firstly, a 70-degree Fahrenheit turkey will cook significantly faster than a fresh-from-the-fridge 34-degree turkey. Your bird will also cook more evenly if given a chance to temper before roasting. This resting period has the added benefit of allowing moisture to evaporate from the surface of the turkey, drying out the skin. Less water equals more browning, so a tempered turkey is going to come out crispier than one that went straight from the fridge to the oven. You might be worried that letting raw meat sit out at room temperature is a food safety hazard, but since you're cooking the meat after it tempers, the risk of illness is very low. Of course, there's a limit to this logic, and we wouldn't recommend leaving your turkey out at room temperature for more than 2 hours. Although cooking stuffing inside the turkey is a time-honored and delicious tradition, many modern guides to Thanksgiving prep advise cooks to bake the stuffing in a separate tray rather than putting it in the bird. Technically, since the dish isn't stuffed inside the bird, it's called dressing when prepared this way. The reasons for this shift away from traditional stuffing are twofold. First, improperly cooked stuffing can be a safety hazard. Stuffing must reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure all harmful bacteria are killed. You can't make the mistake of only checking the temperature of the turkey, as it may finish cooking before the stuffing has exited the temperature danger zone. Second, stuffing slows down the overall cooking process, which could potentially dry out the turkey. If you grew up eating stuffing that came from inside a turkey, you know that dressing can never fully replicate traditional stuffing's rich turkey flavor. The cooks at America's Test Kitchen answered some questions on NPR, and while they were generally anti-stuffing, they had a useful tip to mitigate some of the pitfalls of cooking a stuffed bird. They recommended microwaving the stuffing until hot, around 130 degrees, so it won't drop the temperature of the bird excessively and cook faster than a turkey filled with cold stuffing. The hot stuffing will also take less time to reach 165 degrees, so it will be done at the same time as the turkey. One of the trickiest aspects of cooking a whole turkey is that it's composed of two very different types of meat, breast and leg. Not only do the breasts cook faster than the dark meat, but they will become totally dry if cooked to the temperature that leg meat needs to reach maximum deliciousness. And you don't want that.
Turkey dry as a damn bone.
Generations of crafty home cooks have come up with numerous hacks to avoid overcooking the turkey breast. Two of the most popular methods are using aluminum foil to cover the breasts once they finish cooking, and starting the turkey breast side down in the oven to protect the breast meat. If you don't care about taking a picture with the whole bird tableside, you can carve the breasts off when they finish cooking. returning the dark meat to the oven for the rest of its cooking time. This will give you juicy white meat every time. Some kind of roasting rack is essential for a picture-perfect, evenly browned turkey. Although it might seem unnecessary to add this extra piece of equipment when you could just throw a turkey in a pan and cook it in the oven as is, the roasting rack will quite literally elevate your turkey game. A turkey sitting in the bottom of a roasting pan will begin to stew in its own accumulated juices. The moisture will make the bottom of the bird flabby, pale, and sad. By raising the turkey safely above the liquid in the pan, a roasting rack allows the hot, dry air in the oven to crisp up every inch of turkey skin. If Thanksgiving is the only time you roast a large hunk of meat at home, you can always DIY your own rack. A bed of vegetables, for example, can also support the turkey. The vegetables have the added benefit of contributing flavor to the turkey drippings you'll use for gravy. Give your turkey plenty of time to thaw. If your bird is still frozen on the inside when you put it in the oven, you could be setting yourself up for an infectious situation. Don't just let your turkey hang out on the counter all day either. The best, safest way to thaw your turkey, which is unfortunately also the slowest, is to thaw it in the fridge. You need about a day for every 4 pounds of turkey, which for a big bird could mean more than half a week. Your turkey is going to leak a lot of juice as it thaws, so make sure it's sitting in a pan that's large enough to accommodate all the liquid so your fridge doesn't turn into Salmonella City. If that method seems like a pain, or if you bought a turkey the day before Thanksgiving and don't have a week to prepare, don't lose hope. It's also safe to thaw a turkey fully submerged in cold water. Just make sure that your container is either sitting under a slow tap or that you change the water frequently. This method can thaw a 12-pound turkey in around 6 hours. If you bought your turkey in a blind panic on Thursday morning, you can go straight from freezer to oven. This will take about 1.5 times as long and not taste as good as a thawed turkey, but it will save Thanksgiving and won't send anyone to the hospital. The classic way to cook a turkey is to roast it slowly at a relatively low temperature, around 325 degrees Fahrenheit. This procedure can produce a fine bird, but can tend to dry out the meat slightly because the turkey spends more time in the oven than with higher heat methods. You can guard against this by basting with some kind of fat every 20 minutes or so, although that detracts from the simple appeal of this strategy. The more professional and faster way to cook a turkey is to start it in a searing hot oven for the first bit of cooking time and then lower the temperature to cook the meat all the way through. There's also the double drop method, in which you preheat the oven to 475 degrees, go down to 425 degrees when you insert the turkey, then reduce to 350 degrees once the skin has seared. Not only does this technique take less time than the low and slow method, but it also gives you crispier skin and juicier meat. If you're like us, you don't often buy large cuts of bone-in meat to feed a crowd, so it can be hard to figure out what size of turkey you need to purchase. Fortunately, the calculations required for turkey acquisition are relatively simple. You need 1 pound of turkey for every guest you're serving. If you're very popular and are hosting an enormous number of people, you can start reducing this for turkeys larger than 16 pounds, as they have proportionally more meat and less bones by weight. Keep in mind that this estimate is the minimum that will ensure that every person at your table is fed. For many of us, the greatest joy of Thanksgiving is not the dinner itself, but all the leftovers we get to put into recipes after the fact. If you want to make sure to cook enough turkey for leftovers the next day, allot 1.5 pounds of turkey per person. Although the sight of your golden brown delicious turkey might make you want to reach for the carving knife immediately, premature puncture can ruin a perfectly cooked turkey. When you apply heat to a piece of protein, the liquid inside becomes more volatile. If you cut into a big hunk of meat right after it's done cooking, the juice will rush out, leaving you with a sad, gray, dry mess. Resting is doubly important for whole animals like turkeys, as their large mass means that they will continue to cook and increase in temperature for several minutes after they come out of the oven. That means you can stop the cooking process several degrees before your final target temperature, knowing that carryover cooking will take you over the finish line. This gentle exit will make your turkey juicier and more tender. Most mass-market frozen turkeys come with a little device inserted into the breast meat that pops out when the turkey is done. While in theory, this feature would be a boon to home cooks who don't have meat thermometers, these pop-up timers have a major flaw. They're set to go off at 178 degrees Fahrenheit. Dark meat can handle getting that hot, but breast meat will turn into sawdust and sadness at that temperature. Turkey producers might have set that high temperature from some misguided notions about food safety, but they're not doing their product any favors by encouraging consumers to cook it until it's desiccated. Experts say that turkey is safe once it reaches 165 degrees, and some chefs advocate for even lower temperatures, saying that resting and carryover cooking allow you to remove the bird from the oven before it gets to 165. Many of us cherish the spectacle of a whole golden bird presented at the Thanksgiving table with the host carving the bird while the guests sit and watch. If this is important to you, or if you cling to stuffing your turkey, feel free to leave your turkey whole. Likewise, if the idea of adding some mild poultry butchering to your Thanksgiving prep list is a little daunting, it's okay to go the traditional route.
Go away, you turkey haters!
If, however, you're comfortable with ripping the backbone out of a raw turkey and you want the tastiest possible meat on Thanksgiving, spatchcocking is for you. Spatchcocking is a method for flattening out a whole bird so it cooks more evenly. First, you cut out the turkey's spine with poultry shears or a knife. Then you use brute force to crush its breastbone so it lays flat. Writing for Serious Eats, J. Kenji Lopez Alt says this method improves the turkey in several ways. It evens out the cooking time between the breast and thigh and makes the skin crispier. It also reduces roasting time by about half and gives you a spare turkey spine to enrich the broth you use for gravy and stuffing. Some people will never be able to get past a spatchcocked turkey's rather ungainly appearance, but it's a surefire shortcut to a more delectable Thanksgiving turkey. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite cooking tips are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.